Hello viewers, I want to say thanks for allowing us into your homes, offices, those of you watching us in faraway Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, Ilorin, Sokoto, Kebbi, Ibadan, outside the shores of Nigeria, wherever you are watching, I want to say thank you for allowing us into your home. Sit back and relax yourself. Today we are looking at a very, very interesting topic. Today we are doing a special TV spotlight on engineering consulting and project management firm in Nigeria. Now the question begging for an answer, who will develop Nigeria for Nigerians? And above all, buildings that are collapsing, that is making government to introduce the building code. In engineering, which they call a noble profession, do they have quacks amongst them? All these are questions begging for an answer. Like I just said to you, consulting engineer is one who gives or provides professional engineering services to a client for a fee. Now we're looking at this very noble profession today. And we have experts, they are all in the house, talking about companies who are doing very well in the consulting engineering stroke project management firm in Nigeria. Now, nobody will build our country for us, but I know that Nigerians will be the one to build Nigeria for itself. How supportive has government been to this indigenous firm? That is another question again we'll be looking at. It's going to be an interesting watch. I'll be back after this time out. Please relax yourself and enjoy this program.
I would say our core area initially when we started was highway and bridge designs. And that's early 70. But we found out that in this computer age, the highway and bridge design has to go with what we call transportation studies and transportation. What I mean by transportation, before you go into any road design, so there must have been studies, and you must have been able to study and know that, well, if I build a 3-lane, in 10 years that 3-lane will still be working, will still be adequate. So combine the highway and bridge designs and management with transportation management.
Engineering in Nigeria has witnessed tremendous progress irrespective of the fact that there are still some shortcomings. In this sector, the primary clients are very pivotal to the existence of the well-being of both engineering consulting and project management firms in the country.
Our primary clients are mainly the oil and gas industry. We also have been serving government over the years, both at the federal and the state level. We also serve the private sector. in various capacities. I mean, of course, various multinational companies, industries, and developers, project developers. Over the years, we have developed capabilities in geotechnical engineering, survey, investigation, and foundation design. And we now already have a subsidiary that does that. And that is Automated Geotechnics. It's based in Lagos. Because of the fact that we were finding it difficult to rely on third-party data, which were brought to us to form the basis of our design. We had to set up our own data collection company to be able to facilitate the quality data. That quality data was used. So our clients, they hold us in high esteem, and they really have been supportive, and mainly because we have had a relationship of supplying quality service which they have appreciated. Most of our clients, they do come back to us, especially the private sector and the oil and gas. We get future commissions from them, I mean further commissions from them, which is a sign that we are serving them very well and uniquely. Yes.
Our primary clients are mainly corporate individuals, corporate firms. Though when the banks jobs were moving, we had some banks we worked for. But basically, most of the jobs come from corporate individuals. Few come from the government, because government don't really patronize most of the consultants. You know, so we depend solely on these corporate individuals, personal individuals per se, and then a few from the banks and some financial institutions also. But since they met down, they have been slow. The banks have not been bidding again, and then it's affecting all the business seriously.
Engineering consulting and project management firms in Nigeria, as an agent of infrastructural development, as a level playground for the operators in the sector, as every development assignment to an indigenous consultant is seen as a challenge to local technical manpower.
It is not yet exactly, we don't have a level playing ground yet, but we are trying to ensure there is, because if you check compare contracts awarded to a foreign firm and the same contract awarded to a Nigerian firm, you find that there's not the same amount. The foreign firm will collect more money than the indigenous firm. So we call that a level playing ground. And then you expect them to perform, maybe equally well. It's not possible, because if you award a contract for another foreign firm to use maybe a very good material, and I want to use not something like the same, not the same material. Actually, the output cannot be the same. Can be the same. So it's not a level playing ground. Give them equal opportunity, and let's compare their output and see who is doing better.
In terms of competence and skills with foreign operators, the Nigerian system sometimes accepts foreign operators, but at the long run fall back on the indigenous consultants. It is worthy of note that those expatriates are not better than the local operators in this sector.
Where in the world, and take in particular the so-called emerging tigers of the Far East and Middle East, every development assignment is entrusted to an indigene, so that they are challenged. There is nothing which is so necessary for development as challenge. That's why the people who are handicapped often do far better in life than those who have got no handicap. Challenge is the greatest stepping stone to achievement. Here in our country, instead of challenging the local technical manpower, and believe you me, we've got good people in Nigeria, there is no area in which Nigerians don't excel. It is part of our nature and culture to strive to excel. But in our country, just now, our government has not seen it meet to challenge our technical people, manpower, with the developmental projects. And so the playing field is not level at all.
The primary objective of development in consulting engineering practice in Nigeria is to ensure the highest level of technical competence and business ethics that are brought to bear on the Nigerian people at the most cost-effective prices.
Yes, we would advise the client to say, look, given what you want and what you're trying to achieve, this is likely to be the cost. At that point, it's now up to the client to decide whether or not they're able to afford that cost. And if they are, then we'll start from there. In terms of consultancy fees, I'm sure that if you speak to anybody in the industry, they will tell you that the fees that we get are probably one of the lowest in the world. Easily the lowest within the West African sub-region. As a matter of fact, within Africa, I don't think there's any other country where fees are regulated to the extent that they are in this country. So what you find is that, unfortunately, the best brains don't want to stay in this industry because we cannot afford to pay them. And we're competing against the oil industry, the telecoms, the banks, who can pay a lot more than we can. So that is a challenge that we have.
Now, when you look at the places where you've had more collapsed buildings, Lagos, right? Good. You can see that the problem, the major problem, is from not from engineering regulatory bodies, but from the city planners, okay, who approve these buildings. But there is one thing you have to recognize in Lagos. A lot of these collapsed buildings, first of all, were designed and built as one-story house. Then because the rent is gone up, you can make so much money collecting rent. The landlord comes, oh, somebody tells him, oh, this foundation is good. You can put 2 more floors on top. He will remove the roof, put additional floors on top. Who has approved that? Is it the engineer? It's not the engineer. The engineer has no input here. The engineer has no input. And we find out that such landlord is working with some artisans, not even technicians, artisans, to carry out that work, not with any engineer. So if we want to regulate, we have to be very, very serious with regulation. Yes, if you go to US, you have building codes that regulate buildings properly. And this regulation is not just having something in paper. This is properly regulated. Right now, one of my junior brothers is in the US. What is doing is developing housing estates. Okay? And he tells me stories of what they go through to get approval from cities. Okay? And when they are building, these buildings are periodically inspected. And each time you have problem, you have to stop work until you make correction, and somebody will come back and certify that before you can continue. So one thing is to have the building code. The other is to implement what is in the code.
However, the industry has continued to source expertise from outside the shores of Nigeria on the ground of global competition while they are working towards bridging the gap.
There should not be disunity, because take for instance ACEN, in which I was president. ACEN is the platform for consulting engineers in Nigeria. Every company which decides to practice as a consulting engineer should register with ACEN. Why? Because it is only then that they can be ethically controlled, in the sense that they all swear to the ethics of the profession, to uphold integrity, not to professionalism. And two, then they also have to undertake programs, continuous development programs, in which they attend courses, lectures, and seminars to upgrade their skills. NSE, the National Society of Engineers, is the umbrella organization for all engineers. There should not be a struggle between NSE and ACEN, because these are the two platforms are complementary, even though they are different. It's not every member of NSE who is a member of ACEN or can be a member of ACEN, but all members of ACEN as individual members are members of NSE. ACEN really is an association of firms, not of individuals. But every individual, correction, not every, because you see in ACEN you can have economists. When we did the master plan for the Niger Delta, we did the transferring master plan for Niger Delta, and we did an excellent job. We got commendation. We used economists. We used geographers, because you see that also has aspects which are not pure engineering. They have to do with social geography, and so on. So in ACEN, the individuals who make up the firms, who are members of ACEN, can have other people apart from engineers. They can be economists, they can be agriculturists, for instance. When you are doing a consultancy in agricultural engineering, you need the input by Greek specialists. But every engineer in this country belongs to NSE. At least they have the option to belong there. Now, KOREN is a regulatory body. I was a member of KOREN, and when I was there, I made sure that KOREN is alive to the fact that for them to also regulate consultancy, they must have ACEN as part of the KOREN makeup. I am also the incoming president for the Academy of Engineering. The Academy of Engineering is made of very, very senior engineers, people who've held very high positions in academia, in consultancy, in government, in industry. And they are there because of where they have been. They have seen how best this country can be made to grow, to develop with engineering input. The kind of training which engineers should have. The Academy of Engineering makes inputs on this one. The kind of engineering policies which government should have. These are people who are best in the best position to make that kind of input. So, there is need for all of us in the engineering industry to pull together, because we are all working towards the same purpose of enthroning engineering as the best engineering development tool for our country.
With the association, it's slightly easier in that one, it's an association of professionals. Right now we have a membership of about, I think, close to 300 members in the association, but they're all consulting engineers. So managing that from one aspect is not a problem. The challenge is that the association must now see and ensure that it provides a quality service to its members. Because unless your members feel that there is a benefit in joining the association, why should they join? Why should they pay your dues? So we have to ensure that we deliver quality service to our members. Our members must see that they are benefiting from membership. The challenges that we face as is that we are trying to ensure that our members get a good deal from government. But we're not going to go to government cap in hand and say, please give us work. We prefer to engage government and say, look, government, this is what we are. These are the qualifications of our members. These are the services that we can offer. This is what we think we can do for you. We will do our bit. You help us. Number one. Number two is that there are many things that we as an association can be partnering with government with. As I said, we are already in dialogue with the Lagos State government. I'm very, very happy about the response we've got. We must commend the Lagos State government. They've been very, very responsive. And I'm sure that